Who are the best mid laners of 11-18? What's up, GameLeap? It's the Jizz, and in today's video, we will be revealing the 13 lucky mid laners who are the strongest champions you can pick this patch. Now, in 11-18, there were a few changes to the mid lane, and after collecting data over the past 24 hours, we have the ultimate mid lane champion countdown for you. Now, make sure you hit the like button for the timestamps, and let's get into it. So, coming in at number 13, this is Zed. Now, this patch, Umbral Glaive has been kind of buffed, so it's 200 less gold, but it's giving you less lethality. Now, for Zed, you're probably still going to rush Yomi's Ghostblade or Duskblade or Prowler's Claw, so it probably won't change how you're going to itemize, but it's still going to be a great patch for Zed because every champ in the mid lane you play against is going to be very killable still, with that Seeker's Arm Guard nerf way back at the start of the season, and the fact you deal so much damage even with just a longsword at level 3 and then serrated Dirk, Zed is still in a very good spot. Yes, you have to land all your Qs, and that's the tip I'm going to give you if you do play Zed in 11-18, is that sometimes holding your Qs after you W or E or after you ult onto an enemy champion, actually holding them gives the enemy champion the opportunity to actually juke themselves. So once you do actually throw your Q out at them, you'll be so close to them that it's almost impossible to miss. Now, beating Zed to number 12, this is another assassin in the mid lane. This is LeBlanc. And for LeBlanc, she is one of the most banned champions in the game, especially in higher reloads, because she is so annoying to play against, especially later in a game. Once you have your W maxed and Cosmic Drive in there, your W is on like a 5-second cooldown, it's pretty much impossible to ever kill you, and you still deal so much damage in the process. Your laning phase as well is very good. You might not have the best wave clear in the game, but in terms of damage, in terms of setup for your jungler, and your skirmishing ability as well, makes LeBlanc one of the best all-around mid laners and mid laners generally in 11-18. Now, beating LeBlanc and Zed to the number 11 spot on this countdown, this is Yasuo. And for Yasuo this season, I mean, it even started in pre-season when Riot increased your attack speed per level, and later they semi-reverted the AD per level nerf, and also gave your passive more crit. For Yasuo, it's been a good season all around. With Berserker's Grease, your first real item with Immortal Shield Bow, and then Mortal Reminder, Infinity Edge, you have so much damage, but because of Shield Bow and the fact that it's passive, the actual shield you get has been buffed this season, this gives you the survivability and durability that you often lacked in previous seasons. This means that you can lifesteal back to full HP very quickly and also survive all the burst damage that can catch you out. Now, we can struggle against some champions, but you're going to struggle the most when you don't play around your passive and your win wall. So when you're playing Yasuo in the mid lane, remember that if you do not have your passive stacked, your shield, the damage the enemy champion does to you, this is actually going to hit your real HP. So the more often you trade when you have your shield up, the better those trades are going to be and the more you're going to win. Now, starting off the top 10, coming in at number 10, one of the most consistent mid laners of all time, this is Malzahar. And nothing has really changed this patch. He's still got one of the highest win rates in the mid lane, and this is just simply because he's super easy to play, super reliable, super consistent. All you have to do is press R to win, and also his items are still in a very strong position. So Leandra's Anguish and Demonic Embrace, the tick damage, the cooldown reduction, it's extremely hard to not actually have a positive impact in any game on Malz, and even if you are 0-3, once you get to level 6, pretty much that's all you need to do in a game. And this is in every elo, by the way. Even in high reload where Malzahar, you might think he'd struggle, he's still performing very well indeed. Now, coming in at number 9, this is Yone, who got buffed this patch. So what's happening is that you're getting more shield from your W the more champions you hit. So this is unreal if you're in 2v2s, 3v3s, and of course those late game team fights. You're going to be able to block even more damage than you were before, and with shield bow as well, it's just shields on repeat. The only downside to playing Yone this patch is still that his laning phase is kind of weak, and you can get hard bullied into some matchup. So the tip I'm going to give you when you do play Yone in 11-18 is to try time your W for the enemy champion's main source of damage. Remember, your W will still give you a shield if you use it on minions, so when you see that Zed combo coming at you, when you see the enemy Fizz about to jump on you from his E, use your W on the minions, and this will give you the shield to block that important damage. Now, coming in at number 8, beating Yone, this is Caston. And in 11-18, listen to this, Caston in Master and above has the second highest win rate out of any mid laner. That's how broken he is. Now, it can certainly be hard into champions like Aurelia, Yone, Yasuo, Zed, because these are AD champions and your magic damage shield obviously doesn't work against these, but into majors, if Caston hasn't been bad, he is the ultimate counterpick to pretty much everyone in the game. He'll also work in lower elos because lots of people don't actually know how to punish Caston and melee champions generally, so actually getting out of the laning phase and getting to level 11 onwards, this is normally pretty free, and which stage you can then take over the game. Now, this next champion, if you want to counter to pretty much every melee champion in the game in the mid lane, this is going to be Pantheon, who again, like Caston, has one of the best win rates in the mid lane, and this is for every elo. So if you see your champ select the enemy team lock in a melee champion or even close range champion, Pantheon is the ultimate counter. The insta stun and the burst damage you do, especially with Ignite, is so deadly that it pretty much means you get to level 6 for free, you get your Dirk for free, and because you have that early game pressure, you can roam around the map with your jungler and make plays, and it's very easy to snowball out of that mid lane. But do be careful picking Pantheon into range matchups. Now, speaking of these melee champions, Pantheon can counter. Coming in at number 6, this is Katarina, and for another patch, Conqueror Katarina with Nash's Tooth, Riftmaker, or Rocket Belt is going to be very powerful. Now, it is true that level 1, you are the weakest champion in the game, so it's very important to just play back, let the waves come into you, and stay as healthy as possible. But once you get to level 2 and level 3 and then level 6, it's really a matter of time before a Katarina pops off. I'm sure we've all been there. Katarina is also one of the champions who is abusing Ignite and Teleport because you don't really need Flash, and having Ignite gives you that early game kill pressure, and having Teleport gives you the playmaking potential to go elsewhere if you are having a difficult laning phase, so you can't really not pop off on Katarina in 11-18. Now, one of the best all-around champions is coming in at number 5, guys, and this is Ahri. Amazing wave clear setup, mobility, sustain, but playing Ahri these days, you have to understand that it's more about controlling fights in games rather than actually just assassinating your opponents. This is why you really want to build Everfrost, Sonya's, and Cosmic Drive as your 3 core items, with cooldown boots as well. The haste you have gives you so many charms in fights, wave clear as well, it just helps with everything in the game. And because she is such a safe mid laner, because you have that self-peel with your charm, when she hit level 6, it's very hard to kill you. I would recommend her to anyone at every single elo, and she even has one of the best win rates, even in high elo, despite being very easy and risk-free. Now, one champion we all know who is busted in the mid lane, this is Aurelia coming in at number 4, and for Aurelia, because she is now so easy to play and she's so forgiving, even new players can just start playing it and do well. Her win rate used to be around 45% if you remember early in the season. It's now around 51% overall. She has one of the highest ban rates in the game, and for good reason. So she is open. If you pick her, you can do well into any matchup as well. And because this patch there are no nerfs to Aurelia or her items, she has to be on this countdown once again. But just one tip if you do play Aurelia, remember that your W reduces the damage enemies deal, both physical and magical. So a bit like the Yone tip, if you can nullify the big damage source from the enemy champion when they're throwing that at you, for example, it might be a Zed's Death Mark, it might be a full-on LeBlanc combo. This is going to give you the best chance possible of winning those 1v1s on the reg. Now into the top 3 we're going. Starting off the top 3 might be a surprise champion to some of you. This is Corki, and you might be like, but Corki, I can kill him so easily in lower elo. Oh yeah, we'll play against a Corki who plays at range, scales for free, gets to his mirror mana spike, and plays around his packages. Like, if you don't do the most damage in the game as a Corki, you're trolling, to be honest, because he's in a very good spot, and because of the recent fleet footwork change, it makes his laning phase easier to get out of, which was the big drawback to playing Corki. So now it's even easier to get to those late game spikes, at which point you can totally carry games. But if you are first time in Corki, just make sure in the laning phase, even if you're giving up CS against a Zed, a Yasuo, a Yone, someone who's kind of scary early on, don't worry about it, because you are going to outscale every single mid laner you play against. So as long as you're not 0-3, even if you're 20 CS down, this is fine. You are going to outscale everyone and be more useful than anyone in the mid to late game. Now, beating Corki to number 2 on this list is a champion who's actually been nerfed in 11-18, but the data is telling us that Talon, with Gore Drinker, Serpent's Fang, it's kind of like the Shadow Assassin Kayn build, with Conqueror as well, this Bruiser setup is making Talon super OP despite his Q getting nerfed at later levels. So really what you're about is playing sustain Talon rather than actually going in and assassinating, because when you do that, most of the time you are just going to be trading 1 for 1. But with Gore Drinker in there, this gives you the tank you need to actually survive, but it still gives you a good chunk of damage and ability haste, which is what assassins are built on. But just one tip for Talon before you parkour all around the map is that when you use your E, remember that terrain you can no longer E around. So what lots of inexperienced Talons do, they will E over every single wall to get to lane quicker. But Eing over these raptor walls, these wolf walls, you're probably going to need them for dragon fights and skirmishes in the jungle. So be very careful and selective in which walls you E over to get back to lane or roam around the map, especially near the mid lane where fights are going to take place. But the best mid laner, this is also going to shock some of you for 11-18. This is the newest champion on the Rift, and this is Akshan. Whether you decide to go with Kraken Slayer or Shield Bow and Wit's End as your build path, your damage output is absolutely nuts. Because of your passive, you're getting 2 auto attacks off at a time, and because you're getting a shield as well, your 3rd attack with press the attack, this synergizes so well, and with your Emax, you do a ridiculous amount of damage. And even on the defensive end of things, if you just hold your heroic swing, if you think you're going to get ganked, you can just swing out of there. And as the game progresses from mid to late game, your W is so powerful. You can legit run around the entire map without being seen, so you can get in advantageous positions, kill those AD carries who are farming side lanes, and it's just very hard to not stop an Akshan from doing work. This is why he is the best champion in the mid lane, if he's not banned that is, so make sure you pick him in 11-18. And those are the 13 best mid laners, guys, for this patch. Let me know in the comments any thoughts you have on this countdown. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, so you don't miss any of our daily uploads, and also make sure to check out the GameLeap website for all your League of Legends needs this season if you want to climb. We haven't got that long left until the season actually ends, so if you want to get all of that knowledge you have to know to climb this season and achieve your goals, make sure you sign up. Links in the description and comment section. And until tomorrow's video. This has been the Jizz.